monkeys.
Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back with part 3 of What If Deku was trained by Kakashi. As y'all can tell by my voice, I'm still a little bit sick, but as always, I'm still trucking out to get these videos out to you. It's nothing too bad, so don't worry. If I was really sick, I wouldn't be making videos at all, and I'd tell y'all like, hey, I need to hang out, but I'm feeling good enough where like I feel good to make videos. But yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to my boy Saint. You can find his links in the description below, for the music and stuff like that. Also make sure to check out the merch that I have, the brand new merch that should be in the description as well. Just check the description there, all the links are there. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, and we're just gonna get right into the what if. Let's get it. After all my punches, the Nomu, Izuku, well, instantly passes out due to the overusage of chakra, and when his vision is blurring and going away, he sees All Might finishing off the Nomu. He then abruptly wakes up in Recovery Girl's office. She explains that he has been out for about a day, so that the UA Sports Festival, well, actually will be pretty soon. He is shocked by this, and well, he realizes like he needs to prepare, and he runs out of the office as quick as possible to go train and get ready for school, eventually leading to the first day of the UA Sports Festival. Midnight announces all the classes and then spins a wheel to find out what the first event is. And the first event is the obstacle course race. All the classes and well, the people in attendance are excited to see the first event, and all the classes line up. Once the event starts, ice covers the first corridor. Initially, most people thought that this was just an obstacle, but this was actually someone from class 1A. Shoto Todoroki just froze the entirety of the corridor and is now sprinting across it. Well, a lot of the hero students were able to easily dodge this, including Izuku, in which he just slid by it pretty easily, and he's actually able to run across the ice without even slipping at all. Then they come across the next obstacle, which are the giant zero-pointer robots, in which Izuku uses his speed to basically just nimble his way through the robots and get past the robots before actually Todoroki can drop the huge one on him. With Bakugo in basically hot pursuit, Todoroki is in first, Izuku is in second, and Bakugo is in third. They then come across the next obstacle, which is the giant cavern or the giant ravine, in which Izuku can get across pretty easily using his control over chakra. But with Bakugo being able to fly, Bakugo is actually able to take the lead on the both of them, but Izuku is able to pass up Todoroki himself. After defeating that obstacle, they all begin to be in a hot pursuit of each other once again. Well, more like a hot pursuit of Bakugo, until they get to the very last obstacle, which is a minefield. Izuku is kind of confused by this, but decides that he has an idea to get across, but it's kind of probably going to help other people. Instead of trying to tiptoe around and not hit the mines, he creates shadow clones, well, 2 of them precisely, and using 2 imperfect Rasengans, he launches himself toward the finish line and past the entirety of the minefield. But he does something odd. Izuku doesn't even walk across the finish line. He waits. Todoroki and Bakugo pass him, and he walks in as third place. The crowd is confused as well as the other students until, well, the next event is talked about. The cavalry battle is announced, and it's said that the first place winner holds a 10 million point band. Izuku assumed something of this realm, that you wouldn't be chasing for first place for no reason. So he assumed that, well, the next event must have some handicap on the first place person. So he was right, and he ends up getting his team, in which would be the same as canon in terms of Uraraka, Meihatsume, Tokiyami, but this time they have enough points to pass, but find it a lot easier since they're not being targeted so heavily. On top of that, Izuku arguably has more and more strategies than to easily hold their own band and grab a couple others. Remember, Izuku had no problem coming up with plans in canon, and this what if, I mean, he is even better at planning. He's pretty precise in terms of everything he does. After the cavalry battle, the 1 vs 1 tournament to end the UA Sports Festival is then announced. The first match after their break will be Izuku versus Shinso. After about a 10-minute or so break, Izuku and Shinso begin walking out to the stage, and Shinso begins immediately talking to Izuku. Yeah, you're so lucky, huh? Having a quirk like yours. What is it exactly? It's strong, right? Izuku stands there and doesn't speak a word. Shinso begins questioning himself. Does this kid know? Does he know my quirk? Come on, speak. You're so blessed, right? No words. Izuku doesn't speak again. Why is that? Does he know? The match is then set to begin, and President Mike tells them to fight. Izuku slowly walks towards Shinso, and Shinso keeps trying to get anything out of him. Get anything for him to talk, something. Izuku stays silent and keeps walking forward. Shinso is visibly frustrated by this and begins charging at Izuku. He comes in with a right hook, but Izuku easily dodges it. It's like he's training Shinso or something. Shinso begins trying to strike down Izuku, but he easily dodges in and out of all the attacks. Well, Izuku has actually heard of Shinso's quirk. Someone from his actual class told him. A student by the name of Ojiro told Izuku that once he responded to Shinso, he, well, fell under this weird hypnosis. It was like he couldn't control any of his actions. And when Izuku heard this, he took this to heart. He didn't want to underestimate someone that he knew so little about. So he decided to just stay quiet the entire match. He was quickly able to defeat Shinso very easily. Shinso wasn't trained very well, and even Izuku recognized this very quickly. He, well, realized that he just is so reliant on his quirk. So when Izuku eliminates Shinso, that's exactly what he tells him. You know, you shouldn't rely on your quirk so much. You'll get into a situation like this, where a villain or someone else will know your quirk and just counter it just like that. So why not figure something out? Why not learn hand-to-hand combat, something? Shinso scoffs and says that he doesn't know anything, and that having a quirk like his would make it easy, but Izuku cuts him off. Shinso, I'm quirkless. I trained for this power. Now, I think you should most likely do the same. You can become a lot stronger, and with a quirk like that, it would definitely put you in a good spot to join the hero course. Shinso is shocked by this. He never even brought up the fact that he wanted to join the hero course, so why would Izuku bring it up? It's pretty obvious that you want to join the hero course, Shinso. And I know you can do it, but you have to put in more work than what you're putting in now. Well, maybe we'll talk another time. Izuku then walks away after he helps up Shinso to his feet. The match is then deemed to be over, and well, Izuku is obviously the winner. He walks back to the stands and begins watching the other fights until, well, his next fight is announced, which is him versus Todoroki. He ponders this for a second and realizes that he is at a massive disadvantage. He has said it before, Todoroki in terms of raw strength is definitely stronger than him, but Izuku does have some things up his sleeve that could maybe win him this fight, but there's no guarantee. That's if Todoroki uses both of his quirks, that's for sure. If he uses only his ice side, this fight will basically go in the favor of Izuku pretty easily. Izuku is called out to the stage and he walks out to confront Todoroki. Todoroki doesn't say a word, and right when the match starts, he blasts a giant iceberg at Izuku, in which Todoroki thinks that the fight is over, but fire begins to melt the ice within. What the hell? He says he doesn't have a quirk. A giant hole is melted in the iceberg, and well, Izuku walks out of it. See, raw strength is one thing, Todoroki, but you won't be winning this match without the use of your fire. If we're talking about a match of longevity, I promise I'll be the winner. Shoto then scoffs at this and launches more ice at Izuku, but Izuku's not willing to get hit by the ice again, so he easily dodges to the side and begins to close the distance as fast as possible. He begins flipping over the ice, dodging in between shots, and eventually gets right to Todoroki. Izuku grabs Todoroki's arm, but not the side where he can produce ice. It's the one he can produce fire. He slams him on the ground, and the rest of the fight, he stays on that side. You know, if you could use your fire, this would be a lot easier. He then hears from the stands someone cheering on Todoroki, screaming to use his fire and that the kid is right. Izuku is confused by this and doesn't even know who the man is until he turns around to see Endeavor. Oh, your pops is Endeavor. That kind of makes sense, I guess. Shoto gets mad when Izuku says this and says that it doesn't make sense, and that his father cursed him with a quirk he doesn't want, and that he doesn't want to be a hero using his father's power, and he'll only use his ice side. Izuku is visibly annoyed by this, dashing in front of Todoroki at very fast speeds. It was like he wasn't even taking this seriously. But Izuku wasn't, for say. He was basically trying to get Todoroki to use his other side, but when he heard that Todoroki scoffed at his own quirk, saying that it wasn't even his, Izuku was mad. Izuku didn't even have his own quirk. He worked for years to gain the power he has, and even most people with high level quirks would stomp on him, destroy him. It wouldn't be fair. Kakashi even brought this up during training before, that raw talent and raw power, it makes it hard to keep up if you're going based on just the will of oneself. Kakashi told him stories of a man that he knew, that all he did was train, and he surpassed Kakashi himself. But if Kakashi just kept up with his training, pushed himself harder, the talent would have shown, that he would have stayed beyond his friend, and that Izuku needs to push himself beyond every speck of every limit. Izuku begins shouting at Todoroki that is his quirk, and that Izuku would die for a quirk like that, die for the raw power that he needs, die for the talent that he sought for. He trained for years for the power he has now, and now he has someone in front of him with one of the most powerful quirks he's ever seen, and he scoffs at it. He calls it a curse. You know what's a curse, Todoroki? Not having a quirk in a society where you need one, where everybody wants to be a hero. But since I was quirkless, I couldn't be one. But I found a way. I pushed myself. And now you're telling me that that's not your quirk, that it's cursed? Todoroki tells him that he doesn't understand. No, you don't understand, Todoroki. That's not your father's quirk. That's your quirk. Think about it. All that strength that you have. You really think that's your father's? No. That's yours. Todoroki begins to argue, but then thinks back to a long time ago when he was sitting with his mother watching the television screen. Sitting there watching All Might and All Might Special or something. And his mother told him that he can be the hero he wants to be. His mother is the one that gave him that scar that would be on him forever until he grew old. But he resented only his father because he was the reason his mother did that. She was in such fear of him. That's why it happened. He realized that the quirk that he had, his mother even deemed as his own. She didn't see it as a curse. She didn't see him as a curse. So why would he restrict himself now? Flames erupt from Todoroki and a large smirk grows over his face. Endeavor in the background can be heard screaming and excited. But the flames that Todoroki is emitting and the pure white noise around both of them was blocking it out. There was nobody else but them two. And they were ready for their final battle. Todoroki laughs and thanks Izuku that it's crazy to think that someone who is quirkless would be giving him this lecture. Izuku doesn't take offense to it at all and begins laughing. Yeah, sometimes you have to do what you have to do, right? Shoto is ready for a fight, and so is Izuku. Multiple shadow clones basically appear around Izuku, and they go charging at Todoroki, beginning to try to close the distance. But with his fire, it makes it extremely hard now. Izuku realizes this and needs to up the ante. Lightning begins covering Izuku's body, and he smirks. Now there's no holding back, Todoroki. Let's make this a spectacle. Izuku charges in at insane speeds. Being covered in this lightning-like effect, he's able to barrel through basically all of Todoroki's attacks, striking him. And once he hits him, Todoroki can feel the electricity coursing through him, getting shocked incredibly, knocking him out of the arena. Izuku jumps out, basically to help Todoroki up as the electricity dissipates from him, and he does so. He tells Todoroki that it was a good fight, and that if he just gets more control over his fire, he'll be practically unstoppable. But as he says this, Izuku collapses to the ground and begins kind of twitching a little bit. Midoriya, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. This is kind of what happens when I use that technique, you know, at a really high level. Shoto helps him up and drags him away, and basically they both are kind of double KO'd because, well, Midoriya can't really recover in time for the next battle. So the rest of the fights go on, and Bakugo ends up winning the UA Sports Festival. He's still pretty pissed that he wasn't able to fight either Todoroki or Izuku because they literally double KO'd each other, but he's not too mad about it. He still won, and he feels he won pretty fair and square. And if he wants to fight them later, he can. So he doesn't have this huge, tantrum at basically the award ceremony. After that was finished, Everyone was given about 2 days off because of how intense the festival was, and when they got back to school, Aizawa began explaining to them what their next task would be. Okay, listen up. All of you got internship offers, good or bad or whatever, because of the UA Sports Festival. I'm gonna hand all of you out papers so that you could choose which one you want. So look on the screen and you can see who got the most. Todoroki at the top, Bakugo second, Izuku third, so on and so forth. Izuku was kind of surprised by this, that he got so high up there, but I guess they kind of found out he was quirkless and want to know how he's able to output the power he was outputting. Izuku begins flipping through the pages and looking at basically what internships offered him, and a lot of the people weren't high level internships. It was a lot of very low level internships until he came across one. Endeavor? He looks at Todoroki and Todoroki just looks away quickly. Okay, you guys all have till the end of the day to choose. Hurry up and pick. I really don't care. Just leave the classroom now. Goodbye. I'm going to bed. Aizawa then collapses into his sleeping bag and class 1A leaves. But Izuku asks Todoroki what this is about. Oh, I may or may not have told my father to maybe give you an offer. I thought you didn't even like your father. Todoroki says that it's true, but his father kind of brought him up, sort of. And when he brought up his name, he kind of leaned toward the idea of Izuku being a training partner for Todoroki. But it was kind of Todoroki's excuse to, well, get someone to go to Endeavor's agency with him and not have to deal with his father on his own. So you're bringing me there because you don't want to deal with your father by yourself. When you put it like that, yes. Honestly, I'm not even mad. I'll take it. If he teaches me one thing, at least it'll be worth it. He is the number 2 hero. That is true. And he's also an asshole. Huh? Nothing. Nothing. So after some time, finally the day to head over to the internships has come. And Izuku and Todoroki are picked up by a car and a chauffeur, and they head over to Endeavor's agency. When they arrive, Endeavor greets them both, not with open arms by any means, but he tells Izuku that he's only here to make Shoto stronger. Yeah, whatever. Endeavor scoffs at this and the casual outlook of this kid, but Izuku already knows the deal. He's been through it. He knows that his son is, by all means, privileged in terms of what he grew up on, to a certain extent at least. He knows all the trials and tribulations he went through, but having a father of this stature will definitely help you, at least when becoming a hero. Endeavor tells them both that they'll be training or sparring for the next 2 days, and then on the 3rd day, they will head to Hosu City. Why Hosu? Well, we're gonna be going on a patrol to find the hero killer. That is a wrap for this part. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, sub, comment down below any suggestions, all that good stuff. And yeah, I also make sure to comment down suggestions for any freestyle what ifs you want to see. I've been thinking about doing a couple full movie freestyle what ifs. I have some in mind, but if you got any more ideas, I'm down to hear them. But yeah, that's about it. I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Yeah, later.